YouTube, with the Dallas Mavericks defeating the Oklahoma City Thunder in their series of the Western Conference semifinals in the 2024 NBA playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks will advance to the Western Conference Finals for the second time in 3 years. In a stunning victory at home and a massive comeback, the Mavericks win, take down the Thunder, and will play either the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Denver Nuggets. At the time of me recording this video, that game hasn't happened yet, the Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Wolves. But I have an important question for you guys. Maybe you can let me know down in the comments. Do the Mavericks have enough to beat either the Wolves or the Nuggets and advance to the finals for the first time since 2011? That's what I want to talk about in this video, folks. We're going to be diving into the matchups between either the Wolves or the Nuggets, what that series will look like, and who I think will win. Let's get right into it, folks. So first of all, just a massive props and shout out to the entire Mavs organization. I actually predicted the Mavs to win this series in my playoff prediction video, but I thought it would be a little bit closer in 7 games. The Thunder gave a valiant effort, and maybe we'll do a deep dive on their offseason in a different video. But for the Mavs, huge shout out to them, their roster, their coaching staff, and everyone involved in their 2024 campaign. But I will say the hardest has yet to come, and it's either going to be Denver or Minnesota. I actually think either one of those teams is going to be insanely difficult for the Mavs to overcome, and I'm going to explain why in this video. But I do think there's a chance to beat both of them if you're Dallas. Let's talk about it. So first we're going to talk about the Wolves, and then we'll go into the Nuggets, and let's explain the matchup between the Wolves and the Dallas Mavericks, what that might look like in a Western Conference Finals series if the Wolves were to win Game 7 tonight in Denver. Now, we've seen in the Denver series and in the Phoenix series with the Timberwolves being able to really impact the way these superstar guards are able to operate in the half court. The Wolves are maybe the best defensive team I've seen in 5 years or so, and they can defend at an elite level at any position on the floor. I mean, they can, really make it difficult for your big men with Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid and a lot of the big bodies they throw at you there. And then the perimeter, I think, is the hardest part to deal with if you're an opposing team to the Timberwolves, and that is where the Mavericks make their bread and butter, is the perimeter. So the matchups probably be something like Luka and Kyrie being defended by Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels on any given possession. I mean, these matchups can lead to a lot of turnovers. They can lead to a lot of slow possessions that don't have a lot of movement. The Wolves do a great job on ball denial as well. So you're going to have to be creative if you're Jason Kidd and Luka Doncic and the Mavs to be able to find ways to get open shots against this Minnesota defense if this is the matchup. Now, I actually think this could be the worst matchup for Dallas because of that perimeter defense. Like I said, Denver does have a great defense as well, but I think they're more of a balanced team in general, and I think Dallas is more equipped to handle a team like Denver as opposed to Minnesota. Either way, it's going to be difficult, but I do think the matchup is in Dallas's favor more than it would be against Minnesota in regards to Denver. So, if I'm Dallas right now, I want Denver to win this game. As weird as that sounds, as wild as that sounds, you don't want to, face Jokic in any series. And I actually think the big men defensively for the Mavs are going to have a real issue with Jokic. I mean, if the DPOY and Rudy Gobert is struggling right now against the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic, Daniel Gafford and company and Derek Lively are going to have their hands full with that matchup even more. But I cannot stress enough how important the perimeter defense of the Wolves is going to slow down the Mavs in a 7-game series. I'm sure the Mavs will come up with ways to defeat it possession by possession, but it is going to be a real problem if you're Dallas. Now, not so much if you're Luka Doncic, but I do foresee the issues being with Kyrie Irving and the rest of the team, because Luka is a guy you just can't double. You can't really even trap because he's just going to make the right pass and find an open shooter. And if you choose not to double him, he's just going to take you one-on-one. Doesn't matter how great your one-on-one defense is, he's going to make tough shots. You know what I mean? So it's similar to Jokic. There just kind of is no slowing down Luka. I mean, you could do a lot of things to make him uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, he's just going to make tough shots and make the right plays more often than not. You got to live with that. You really want the ball to be in a PJ Washington's hands, even though he's played incredible in this postseason. But you want guys like that shooting, Derek Jones Jr. as opposed to Luka. And by double teaming him, you force the ball out of his hands, but you do end up with a wide open 3 a lot of times from the perimeter players and catch and shoot guys on Dallas. Now, I think the issue is going to be with Kyrie Irving, because Kyrie, as great of a playmaker and as smart as an offensive player as he is, I think you are going to have some issues playing one-on-one basketball, which is, I think, his strongest ability as a scorer against a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is far bigger than him, far longer, and he's going to be able to contest a lot of shots that Kyrie ends up taking, as well as Luka. But Luka is big and strong enough to be able to take those guys in the paint and deal with them down there, whereas Kyrie needs to make his living on the perimeter and getting to the basket. Now, as far as the lob threats, you've seen a lot in this Dallas OKC series. The lob threats, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II being prominent roles in their offensive attack. It seems like almost every other possession, they're trying to find a lob to Daniel Gafford, who is emerging as one of the greatest lob threats in the league, in my opinion, in this postseason. He's been unbelievable. But with a guy like Rudy Gobert back there and Naz Reid, these really really athletic, vertical, above the rim defenders, inside the paint. I don't think the lob is going to be that much of an impact if you are the Dallas Mavericks. You could try it, but I think Gobert and Naz Reid might be the best two guys to be able to handle that kind of attack on the interior, possession by possession. We all know Rudy Gobert loves to do that drop coverage. Now, you might give up a floater to a Luka or a Kyrie, but you're not going to give up a lob most of the time. Now, it is going to force Rudy Gobert to make a lot of choices in the paint. Does he want to contest the floater or maybe the kick out to a corner three, or does he want to disrupt the lob? Those are the choices he's going to have to make, and those are the choices Dallas is going to have to make possession by possession. One thing we do know, it's not going to be easy for Dallas in that regard. But either way you slice it, I think Minnesota is the worst matchup for Dallas in regards to Denver and Minnesota. I think Minnesota defensively is a nightmare matchup for Dallas in general. So I think, if it is Minnesota, it would be a very, very close series. But I do think overall, Minnesota might win that series. I would probably pick Minnesota in 7 games to advance to the finals, or 6, maybe 6 games, but I would pick Minnesota. Now, as far as Denver, I actually think the better chance is with Denver, because while I believe Denver is still maybe the best team in the entire world, maybe other than Boston right now, the matchup is a better matchup, right? I do think Denver is a slightly better team overall. I just think the firepower of Luka and Kyrie is going to be explosive enough to be able to overcome a lot of these Denver deficits you're going to get in, but we'll have to see. I do think the matchup is a little, more fair for the Mavs with Denver. Not so much defensively. I think, Jokic is going to be an absolute problem for Dallas. Like I said, Gafford and Lively have played incredibly well, in their roles this season. Primarily, Gafford on the offensive attack, but defensively, I think you are going to have some of the worst issues against Nikola Jokic of anyone in this playoff. Now, as far as the perimeter and, pace of play and stuff like that, I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. I think both of them are going to have issues guarding the perimeter. Jamal Murray, I would assume it would be a Derrick Jones Jr., maybe even PJ Washington at times, Dante Exum matchup, or Josh Green, or the Mavericks. They have a lot of bodies that could throw out Jamal Murray. But then when it comes to Dallas, I think, Denver is going to have guys like KCP just travel everywhere on the floor with Kyrie or Luka, either one. If you think about in football, the number one corner traveling the field with the top receiver, that's going to be what it's like for KCP and one of these top guys, Luka or Kyrie. But I think the better team will eventually win in that series. The matchups aren't so lopsided other than Jokic, who is going to be a bad matchup nightmare for any team. I might even expect Aaron Gordon to take on the Luka responsibility, since the size is a little bit closer for Aaron Gordon than it is for KCP. KCP is one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire league, and he is about the same height as Luka, but Luka is a lot heavier and stronger than KCP. While I do think KCP has a lot of skills on the perimeter to be able to overcome the size, I think Aaron Gordon might even be a better matchup for Luka in the half-court setting. If this is the series, which honestly I low-key kind of hope it is, because this would be the greatest display of offense in a single series that we've seen since maybe like the LeBron Cavaliers and Warriors showdown between LeBron and Steph every year. Those were some of the best offensive matchups we'll ever see. I think it'll be very, very similar with two of the smartest players of all time, two of the greatest players in the game right now, maybe the two best in this game right now, Luka and Jokic, going head to head, and just see, who can have the more dominant offensive performances from those two. It's gonna be so interesting to watch. I'm gonna be glued to my TV watching that series if it is the case. And like I said, I've been saying this throughout the playoffs, I kind of low-key want that just as an NBA fan. I love what Minnesota's done this year, and I am so incredibly inspired, and you love to see what they're doing and how they flipped the switch on their franchise overnight, basically. Listen, man, if I'm a basketball fan right now, and I'm a basketball fan first, when my Sixers are out of the playoffs, this is the kind of basketball I want to see. Luka and Jokic. We might never see a series that great ever again. I would expect Denver to win that series as well in 7 games. It sounds like I'm being harsh on the Mavs. I'm really not. I'm giving them a really fair chance against both these teams. But if I had to predict, like, I'm not saying it's definite, like, I'm not making that stance, but I am saying if I had to bet money on it, which I don't do, but if, you forced my hand and said, who wins, you have to predict right now, or X, Y, and Z happens to you, the Sixers miss out on free agency, something terrible, just a tragedy, I would say Minnesota in 7 and Denver in 7 either way. But I give the Mavs a fair chance as either of those teams to win. But if I had to predict, that's who I would predict. Listen, the Mavs, we've seen it sometimes throughout this series. They just don't look complete enough to me a lot of times. They have a lot of great players, and their rotation is stacked with really solid role players. But as far as the offensive firepower, it has to come from 2 places, Luka and Kyrie. PJ Washington has had some heroics and game-changing plays and highlights and moments in this playoff run. But if I'm a betting man, I am betting that is unsustainable every game, right? And every quarter and every possession. I think PJ Washington's an awesome player, and I think he's really broken out and earned himself a really long-term role in Dallas, which is amazing. And he's really showed quite a lot of promise offensively and defensively, primarily offensively. defensively as a third option. But if I'm, if I'm betting money on it, I'm going to say I don't trust it game to game from PJ Washington. So, Tim Hardaway, if he gets hot, he can be that kind of guy. But, it has to be Luka and Kyrie every single night, every single quarter, every single possession. And, after a while, those guys just get worn down and, sometimes they just don't have a great game. And if they don't have a great game, the Mavs lose. So you can say that for every team, right? Oh, the best two players have to play elite for them to win. They have to play their best. Sure. And that gets more true and more true as you go on into the playoffs, especially into the conference finals. Your best players have to be your best players. There is no margin for error in that regard, 9 times out of 10, barring some fluke. But like I said, I just think Denver is the slightly more rounded and better team. And man, as great as Luka is, they just got that dude Jokic, man. He is on another level, on another planet. So if you better hope that you do play Denver if you're Dallas. I'm telling you right now, people are sleeping on Minnesota, man. Defensively, they are a nightmare for Dallas, and it would be worse to play them than Denver. But Jokic is his own problem if you're Dallas, because now it's like all hands on deck for Jokic and then the other guys beat you. It's just, Dallas has had a great run either way. And I think next year, someone mentioned this in the comments of a different video for Dallas that I made, that next year is even going to be better for Dallas because these guys, a lot of these teammates that Luka and Kyrie have had throughout the season, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, they're going to have another year under their belt and the chemistry is going to be a lot better. And also they're going to have more, options to be able to round out this roster a little bit better and kind of fine tune it to their choosing. And, I do think 2025 is going to be a better year for Dallas, which is insane because they're in the Western Conference Finals now. My point is, even if they lose in the Western Conference Finals, I think you got to be thrilled as a Dallas Mavericks fan that they even got there, for one, and two, they look so great doing it, right? In 2022, we saw Luka just basically carry his way and bully his way into the conference finals. I don't want to say by himself, Jalen Brunson was there. He had a lot to do with it. And, at the end of the day, he's got, NBA players on his team, but this one feels different. This one feels like Luka's actually getting a lot of the help that he needs for once. And it's really, really propelled the Mavericks into a position they've never been in with the Luka Doncic era. So either way you slice it, the Mavs absolutely can make the finals. Will they? I would probably bet on no, but it's a very small margin. Like I said, they totally could in this universe. It's not even, exaggerating to say that, but I think if you're a Mavs fan or, someone that roots for Dallas, I think you have to be thrilled with the result either way because Dallas has just performed so well throughout this playoffs. That's going to be pretty much it for the video, man. Make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section. Do you guys agree with my takes here? Because I'm actually wrong. I say something stupid every single video, and I love that you guys correct me because it makes me smarter. And I'm not someone that's going to, come on here and pretend that I'm right about everything or try to be right about everything. I just love talking about basketball, The point of this channel is not to be right or be smart or anything like that. I'm just a passionate fan, and I want to share, my takes and my passion with you guys because I know you guys are the same way as me, and that's what I love about this community. So I'm going to be a positive influence on the NBA community with this channel. So make sure you guys subscribe if you guys don't want to miss more content just like this, and make sure you guys drop a like on the video because it really helps out the channel, helps me, means a lot to me, and helps new people find the video. So it really mean a lot to me. Make sure you guys check out some of my recent videos if you're curious about the channel. It would really mean a lot, like I said, and we're going to be talking about topics like this every single day. Like I said, don't be, afraid to let me know down in the comment section if I'm wrong or you disagree, because that's how I learn things, and you guys are a lot smarter than me in a lot of situations. So I really respect your guys' inputs and insights and opinions. You guys have been great. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel as of late. It's been amazing. I've talked to more great people about basketball on this channel than ever in my life, just down in the comment section, and it's just so amazing to me. It really makes my day when I see a lot of comments, and people are just so amazing in this community. So I really appreciate you guys for watching all the way to the end. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of my takes and what you think of the Mavericks' future in this postseason. I just love basketball, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm a huge Luka Doncic fan, so you love to see what Luka's doing, and hopefully that can continue. Let me know down in the comment section if you're a Mavs fan, because I love talking to different fan bases and stuff like that about the videos. Just recently I talked about the Celtics and Tatum, and I talked to a lot of Celtics fans, and that was an interesting experience for me because I'm a Sixers fan. So I just love getting new perspectives on the NBA community and the fan bases. So make sure you guys let me know. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today, and these game 7s are going to be incredible. Probably make a video on that tomorrow after we have the results, and hopefully you guys just enjoy the games. I will catch you guys in the next one. This is your boy D-Haven, as always. Peace.